I'm Aisha Arif, a PhD student of environmental sciences. Throughout my life as an environmentalist, I have gained experience in Pakistan EPA lab and in environmental health safety department of an oil and gas company in Pakistan. I have also attended various workshops on health safety environment management system. Currently, I'm doing my thesis on a green energy production system. Can you please introduce yourself here so that we may all know who are present in the session? Whatever language you are feasible with, it's okay. Can you guys introduce yourself or what you do
Hello,
and
Assalamu
what
alaikum.
is your Walaikum Assalam?
This is Hafiz Abdul Wahab, working as a health and safety manager in Dubai. I'm working within the same field since last 14 years, and I just want to pursue this level 7 diploma to step up my career as a sustainability and environmental suspects. That's it.
All right, good. Anyone else want to introduce himself or herself?
Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum.
alaikum.
Go ahead, man.
Walaikum
Junaid.
Assalam.
You can go on, no issue.
Actually, I turned my mic off. Anyways, this is Tariq Aziz Khan. Uh, I'm health and safety professional for last 2 decades now. I've been working with most of my career with U.S. government, starting with the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad, then USAID, which we call USAID, again in
Mhm.
Pakistan. And then I moved to Saudi Arabia, worked for US Air Force for 5, 6 years, then moved to Somalia with AECOM. Previously, I was working with CDM Smith, an American company. Before that, in US Embassy, we were working for BL Harbert. So last my assignment was in Somalia with AECOM for US Navy, and then hit the COVID. I came to Pakistan and could not go back to Saudi or any other country. Now I'm in Saudi Arabia looking for job, and that's and when I was free, I thought I should step up my career with this sustainability thing. I joined you guys. That's so.
It's an honor, sir. It's an honor. Anyone else want to introduce himself or herself here? Whatever language you are
Assalamu alaikum.
feasible with, it's all right. Walaikum
Assalamu
Assalam.
alaikum. This is Junaid Fida. I've been
Walaikum.
working in health and safety
Mhm.
field for last 13 years, and all my experience is in UAE. I've worked in oil and
Mhm.
gas and construction industry as well. For the last few years, I've been working in this renewable energy projects, mostly solar photovoltaic projects, and now
Mhm.
I think I've done a lot in health and safety. So this environment and sustainability, it has a lot to offer in the upcoming years. So I think we should step up toward this one, and then we can just
Mhm.
look forward toward environment and sustainability as well, uh, not just as a career, but as a
Exactly.
responsible citizen of this planet as well, so that we can contribute more toward it. Thank you.
Great. Great. Anyone else? Right. Wow. We have such a diversity of well accomplished people here, and it's an honor to be taking this session with you. Let's begin. Before we begin, I want to request all of you that please feel feel free to put forward your inputs. आप लोग अपना input ज़रूर दें, since all of us are here have different experiences and background. So let's share experiences and knowledge with each other. हम सब discuss करेंगे अपना अपना point of view related to the topic. आप जो भी मीडियम यूज़ करना चाहें, whatever language you want to use, English, Urdu, please feel free to communicate. All right. Now, let's begin our session. Okay. Today's topic is ecological footprint versus carbon footprint. And today's agenda would be obviously discussing what is ecological footprint, what is carbon footprint, calculation of carbon footprint, and ISO standards, obviously, for the carbon footprint. The environmental footprint, also known as ecological footprint, actually measures the impact of people or organization on environment, whether it is positive or negative. In case of organizations, it is defined as a multi-criteria measure of the environmental performance of their activity when providing goods or services, considering the entire life cycle. Basically, as the definition points out, it involves every aspect. For example, when we are walking, the person in front of us leaves footprint, right? The footprint shows that what was the way that the person before us adopted, or where they went and how they went to a particular point. Same is the case with ecological footprint, that it measures what an ecosystem is providing us, what we are getting from it, and how we are using those resources that we are getting from the ecosystem throughout the entire life cycle of those resources, and what we are making out of these resources. The ecological footprint actually measure all of that how we are using, what we are using, and how it will end. The ecological footprint obviously is a natural resource accounting tool. So it was developed in 1990s at the University of British Columbia. And today it has become one of the most commonly used methods worldwide for benchmarking the environmental performance and monitoring progress towards a sustainable future. Calculating the environmental footprint is a fundamental way to measure, monitor, and improve the impact we have on the planet. This key step makes it possible to identify the risk for the organization and for the society. Actually, uh, ecological footprint would consider every aspect. It would benchmark environmental performance and monitoring progress towards a sustainable future. Obviously, what we know we can mitigate as well, right? And what we don't know, it is hard to mitigate. So ecological footprint provides us measuring scale, a type of sort of measuring scale that we can measure, monitor, and improve the impact that we have on the planet. Can anyone among you suggest what sort of harmful activities are being done by us humans to the ecosystem, especially related to your fields? That what type of activities are harming our nature? Can anyone among you tell me? Among you.
I think you better call the names so that we can understand that, oh, it's my
Um,
turn and I will speak directly. Otherwise, you see, I will keep looking for someone else and they will keep looking for me. Anyways, whatever we do,
all,
we
all right.
when we disturb nature, our ecosystem, it's harmful. We are excavating, we are releasing carbon and other gases into our atmosphere, and all those things from industry to vehicles, roads, infrastructure, buildings, everything is harming nature. Everything is, disturbing our ecosystem.
Thank you, Mr. Tariq. Yeah, it's a good suggestion. Next time I will call out the names. Uh, just like you said, that basically human beings' entire existence is spreading a disease to the ecosystem. Although it was all made for us, it's a duty of the ecosystem, obviously, to provide services to us. But we are the one that will be affected if it is harmed in any way, right? Now coming back towards the topic, types of eco footprint. Obviously, ecological services consist of many different things, right? So it is essential that the footprints would also be different. For example, we have carbon footprint. It is actually the total amount of the greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide and methane, that are generated by our action. We have water footprint as well, that is an indicator of water usage behind all the goods and services consumed by one individual or a country or organization. We have biodiversity footprint, that is designed to understand and report the impact of an organization has on the decline or restoration of the biodiversity. Biodiversity includes obviously the fauna and flora, right? And what are the main causes leading to this impact? We have land footprint as well, that the amount of land wherever it is in the world that is needed to produce a product or used by an organization or a nation. We have nitrogen footprint as well. As you all know, that nitrogen is a very important part of our ecosystem. Like we have about more than 70% of nitrogen with our air that we breathe, and this nitrogen is used by the crops to produce food. How? That the ecosystem convert this nitrogen in the air into the ammonia in the form that is used by the plants to produce ammonia by various ways, like by using bacteria or by using lightning and etc. So measuring nitrogen footprint is also important. What is the amount of reactive nitrogen that enters the environment through human activities minus the nitrogen that is prevented from entering into the environment? And finally, we have material footprint as well, which is the amount of ore in terms of tonnage use, like copper ore, we have gold, we have silver, and any metal that is being used. It can be measured with the help of material footprint. Next is, why why do we need this concept of footprinting, measuring the footprint? What is the major need? So the major need is obvious, the economic growth. Let's take an example of the BRICS countries. You all are aware that BRICS is an intergovernmental organization, including Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now UAE, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, etc. These are also entered the BRICS community as well. Now, these countries are actually the countries that are emerging market countries, and they have achieved significant economic growth for 3 decades, for 30 years. They contribute, according to the estimate, 21% to the world's GDP, and they are the major stakeholders in the global economy. But the thing is, but due to rapid economic growth, these countries obviously consume, according to an estimate, 40% of the world's energy and largely contribute to the increasing global carbon dioxide emissions. Also, economic development pushes the industrialization, ultimately increasing natural resource extraction. A large amount of natural resource consumption through agriculture, industrialization, deforestation, and mining can affect the environment adversely. The natural resource extraction exploitation accelerate in parallel with income increase that leads to a decrease in biocapacity. What is happening here is that what we get from ecosystem, we are getting services from the ecosystem in the form of what? Fossil fuel, in the form of water, in the form of land, in the form of crop, in the form of fruit, in the form of even air, in order to increase our industrialization and economic activity. And the production of obviously the production process of industrialized countries in particular relies on conventional energy sources like oil, gas, coal, because they have higher efficiency as compared to the other sources of energy. So their energy needs are met by fossil fuel. Okay, now this industrialization is also causing an increase in urbanization rate, which raises the demand for transportation and industrialization, energy consumption, etc. The high urbanization rate creates more income at the cost of natural resource exploitation and affecting the public health. Urbanization is also increasing the purchasing power of the urban inhabitants that may in turn demand like clean energy, consumption, etc. So what is happening here that we are taking and taking and taking from the ecosystem and not giving any time for to the ecosystem to regenerate itself. Like for example, at the rate at which we are extracting the groundwater is not equal to the rate it is being replenished by the nature, right? So if sustainable management practices are to be integrated into the production and consumption processes, we need the resources to regenerate. This is what sustainable, the process of sustainable is, right? That we need uh, that our present needs are also being met, but also we have to leave the resources for the future as well. For that purpose, the resources need to regenerate, and we but at the present state, at the present speed, we are actually not making allowing the resources to be regenerated. This is the reason we need to measure the footprints. Okay, now coming towards the main topic, carbon footprint. Initially, carbon footprint were defined as a forest land needed to sequester carbon dioxide emission, and it was also called as energy footprint. And later on, IPCC, that is Intergovernment Panel on Climate Change in 1988, described carbon footprint as mass units of kilograms of carbon dioxide equivalent to resulting from the global warming potential. What actually is this means that carbon footprint is what actually initially how much land was needed, how much forestation was needed so that the carbon dioxide that we are releasing from our activities can be sequestered or captured by the trees. And this was also called as energy footprint. But the IPCC uh, made it more, I can say that particular in particular terms by IPCC that it is expressed in mass kilograms of carbon dioxide resulting from the global warming potential. Now, these two definitions include carbon dioxide, but some group of thoughts or include non-fossil carbon dioxide as well, like from the human activities or by we also generate carbon dioxide, right? They include, but some group of thoughts also include methane, also carbon monoxide, and some include all six greenhouse gases that were listed under the Kyoto Protocol, like carbon dioxide, we have methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbon, perfluorocarbon, and sulfur hexafluorides. So it leads to incomparable results. Obviously, कि आपके पास different types of like one organization said that we are going to only monitor the fossil carbon dioxide emission by our activities, and one organization say no, we are going to monitor methane emitted by our activities as well. So it makes incomparable results or comparisons, right? So when multiple, so we divide the carbon footprint into two parts. So when multiple GHGs are accounted, the indicator is called GHG footprint, that is greenhouse gas footprint or a climate footprint. Otherwise, only carbon dioxide and methane is considered in the carbon footprint. And World Health Organization WHO simplified the definition of carbon footprint into what? Measurement of the impact your activities have on the amount of carbon dioxide produced through the burning of fossil fuels, and is expressed as a weight of carbon dioxide emissions produced in tons. Okay. Now, how to measure carbon footprint? There are many ways that carbon footprint can be measured. For example, we have input and output method, in which we only measure what is the input carbon dioxide that we are giving into the system and what we get in return. Okay. And there is another method, that is emission factor method, that too includes only that what sort of emissions or carbon emissions that we are getting from a particular process. So these processes are not very good, or what can say that we cannot be confident on the results that we are obtaining from these measuring tools. So the best one that I have included in this session is LCA, that is Life Cycle Assessment Measuring Carbon Footprint Tool, and it is used on a global, national, territorial, organizational activity or product. It in any stage, any at any stage of a production, or by any individual. LCA is actually a systematic measurement of all inputs and outputs for a specific product and production system. Now it measures, why it is the best method, because it measures both the direct and indirect carbon emissions of a system during the life cycle. Okay. And thus is typically provide high accuracy. What are the steps of these this LCA system? Number one, scope and goal. Why do we need to, what is the purpose actually? Why do we need to measure the carbon footprint of a of whatever task you are doing? What are you producing? Why are you producing? How are you producing? What is the purpose of producing this thing? And why do we need to measure the footprint? We need to define the purpose, the scope, the goal of LCA in first step. And also, we have to calculate the functional unit. Functional unit actually is it characterizes a quantity of a product or a product system based on the functionality. Actually, it is a key concept in ecology and LCA, and it provides a standardized way to measure and compare the environmental impact. For instance, let's take an example, basic example, that we say cell is the functional unit of life, like meaning a very basic thing that can be used to describe a whole. So we need to define the purpose. Why do we need to measure the carbon footprint? And then we need to calculate the function unit, which can describe the whole. Second is inventory analysis. It is actually what? A detailed quantitative analysis of the energy consumption and carbon emission for each module or each step and equipment throughout the life cycle. Inventory analysis include these four modules or units. What are those? Production and materialization. What type of raw material we are extracting for our process? What are the processes that raw material is going through, and what we are manufacturing from that raw material? Second is construction. During the construction phase, what type of transportation we are using? How much transportation we are using? What type of fuel is being used in the transportation? What are we constructing? What type of building material is being used during the construction? Vegetation destruction. What type of trees, what type of vegetation we are destroying to construct that particular thing or particular building or particular organization? And what type of human activities are going during this whole construction process? Next module is operation and maintenance. What type of operation and what type of maintenance is needed to control this operation? Whether we are restoring the vegetation that we have destroyed, and what type of human activities are being done on that particular place. The last module is disposal and recycling. That is demolition. Obviously, for example, if we have an oil rig and we have it is expired oil rig. Obviously, uh, the whole building or whole thing or whole machinery needs to be demolated, or the whole structure needs to be demolated to be shifted into another place. So are we what type of or how we are destroying that whole setup? Are we recycling the whole setup, or are we recycling everything that we used? Are we restoring the vegetation that we destroyed earlier to extract the oil from that particular field? And again, human activities, that what type of human activities is going through. And lastly, after calculating or describing all of these modules, we calculate the life cycle carbon emission, which is actually the sum of carbon emissions in all the four phases I have discussed before, like production, materialization, construction, operation, and maintenance, and disposal and recovery. And it can be expressed in the given formula, as you can see. This is how we calculate the life cycle assessment. We do the life cycle assessment of the carbon footprint. Next, obviously, since carbon measurement of the carbon footprint is important for the sustainable practices to mitigate what harmful things that we have done to the ecosystem. So it was necessary for the International Organization for the Standardization to develop a standard or certification or standard for the carbon footprint as well. So the ISO 1406 T family provides actually clarity and consistency for quantifying, monitoring, reporting, and validating or verifying the greenhouse gas emissions and removal to support the sustainable development through a low carbon economy. So ISO for carbon footprint, that is ISO 14 or 60, was developed to benefit the organization and all the stakeholders by providing clarity and consistency on quantifying, monitoring, reporting, and validating or verifying the GHG emissions and removals. And the use of ISO 14 or 60 family is what it does enhances the environmental integrity of the greenhouse gas quantification. It also enhances the credibility, consistency, and transparency of GHG quantification, monitoring, reporting, etc. It also facilitates the development and implementation of the greenhouse gas management strategies and plans. It also facilitates the development and implementation of mitigation action through emission reduction or removal enhancement. It facilitates the ability to track performance and progress in reduction of greenhouse gas emission. Like what it does, it provides a framework for the organization or individual to how to mitigate, how to implement mitigation action, how to reduce the emission, how to recycle things to reduce the impact of the greenhouse gases that our project, that our activity had on the ecosystem. And the application includes obviously corporate decisions such as identifying the greenhouse gas emission, reduction opportunities, and increasing the profitability by reducing the energy consumption. Obviously, for the organization, profit is a major gain, or profit is a major goal of an organization. So, without compromising profit, the ISO certifications, ISO standards can give us ways in identifying how to reduce the emissions and also to gain profit or increase profit by reducing the energy consumption. Carbon risk management, like identification and management of the risks and opportunities. Voluntary initiatives like participation in voluntary GAG registries or sustainability reporting initiatives. Greenhouse gases markets, such as buying and selling of greenhouse allowances or credits. Regulatory or government greenhouse gases programs, such as credit for early action agreements or national local reporting initiatives, etc. Actually, it provides the whole framework for the organization to incorporate eco maintaining services or eco maintaining activities into their business, and not only to increase the profit but also to increase decrease the impact of the activities of our activities that we have on ecosystem. Now, among the ISO standard of a family of 1400600s, two main ISO standards. That is, one is 14067 and other is 14064. These particularly deal with the carbon footprint. Now, number 167 defines the requirements necessary for the companies to qualify the carbon footprint of their products. Main goal is to determine the greenhouse gas emission produced during each state in the life cycle of the product, and it correlates to the 13 sustainable development goal. The Can anyone amongst you tell me the what is the 13 sustainable development goal is? um, Mr. Junaid Fida.
Sorry, come again.
uh, I was just saying that if you know that what is the sustainable SDG goal number 13 is, or anyone else.
Sorry, I didn't study this goal number 30.
Okay,
So
no,
maybe
no
someone
problem, no
can help
problem.
me.
I just want section to be interactive because. All right. Goal number 13 is actually climate action. That ISO standard 14 or 67 relates to the goal number 13, that it is which is climate action, because it determines the greenhouse gas emission produced during each stage in the life cycle of a product. When the product was made, how it was made, what raw material was used, each and everything, and what would it do after it has been used. Okay. The next is 14064. It is an international standard that deals with the quantitative measurement and reporting of organizations greenhouse gas, and it correlates to the 13th and 9th sustainable development goal. 13, as I already mentioned, is deals with the climate action, and goal number 9 includes industry innovation and infrastructure. So, what is the difference between both these goals? 64 deals with the quantitative measurement, reporting, and verification of the company's GHG emissions, that is, corporate carbon footprint. And 67 sets requirements and guidelines to quantify emission at the product level, only at the product level. After the product is being made, then it gives the set of requirements and guideline to quantify the emissions. Just a general discussion of how to reduce personal carbon footprint. How can we personally, as an individual, reduce our carbon footprint? Obviously, first is reduce the energy consumption. We have always heard from our parents, from our elders, that turn the light off when you're not in the room, do not waste water. These are the actually common ethical practices that we have developed, or we need to develop, uh, that would help us in reducing the personal carbon footprint. Recycle and compost and use public transportation. And what are the benefits that reducing the personal carbon footprint would be? Improved air quality, Many amongst you must have seen that how much bad the air quality of Pakistan was in the previous months, right? So this was due to uh, excess amount of burning of fossil fuel, burning of crops, and burning of trees. It was because of this that air quality was very, 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 very bad. Reducing personal carbon footprint would also lower the energy bills, which is the major, I think, concern for all of us. It would also reduce the risk of climate change, and it would increase the sense of community that the community would participate in more ethical work or ethical things to mitigate the climate action, to mitigate the effects on ecosystem of our activity. Now, how the organizations should reduce their carbon footprint? Using obviously efficient energy sources instead of using non-renewable sources like fossil fuel. They should focus more on renewable sources like from the water, from the solar power plants, or there's another uh, major renewable energy source that is being researched on and is applied in various industry field, that is hydrogen. Using hydrogen from water, hydrogen from seawater, hydrogen from methane. It is a source of renewable energy as well. Second is waste reduction. Organization should reduce their waste, or they can produce like side products by using the waste. They can use sustainable supply chain. They can use the concept of carbon offsetting. It's ongoing, I can say that it's a ongoing major research topic nowadays, carbon offsetting. For example, scientists are researching on how to capture the carbon dioxide emissions from the automobile or from the industrial processes and converting them into fuel like methanol, like ethanol, like formic acid. These things, it is not applicable yet, but it is on this research stage, but it's a very latest topic. And obviously employing engagement is important in reducing the organization carbon footprint. Now, topic of discussion. Can anyone among you tell me what could be the influence of carbon footprint on international trade? Mr. Malik Wahab, what is your opinion that what could be the influence of carbon footprint on international trade?
Hello. जी ma'am.
Hello?
Yes. Hello. Yeah. I have
Hello? I
no.
can hear you.
Hello. Yes. I have no idea. I'm just
Just
because
your
I'm.
opinion, like आपको क्या लगता है कि इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड पे लाइक अगर हम जो हमने जैसे कार्बन फुटप्रिंटिंग का पढ़ा है कि देखा है, सॉरी, डिस्कस किया है कि कार्बन फुटप्रिंट मेजरमेंट का क्या हो सकता है इम्पैक्ट इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड पे, लाइक हम लोग जो ट्रेडिंग हो रही है इंटरनेशनल, तो उसका कोई अच्छा इम्पैक्ट, कोई बुरा इम्पैक्ट? ओके, नो वरीज, नो वरीज. Usman, safety, can you give me your opinion on what could be the influence of carbon footprint on international trade? All right. Hamza Khalid?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Well, I would say that, in the beginning we discussed about BRICS and how those countries are, contributing to the GDP, world GDP, and how much when they are combined, what proportion of world population they represent. So if we talk about international trade and how the carbon footprint, actually affects it, it means, as much as the carbon footprint there is, that means it directly links to the, consumption, energy consumption. The more you consume, that means the more you spend. So, control, yeah. So controlling the carbon footprint would actually mean that you are controlling your consumption and your resources, hence directly affecting your economy. So one of the effect would be this. Secondly, countries which are isolating themselves from these changes, the countries which are not working towards sustainable future, those countries will soon be isolated from the world, will soon be not getting the benefits and the perks which other countries are getting from being a part of this. And they will suffer hugely in terms of export and their imports. There might be some sanctions on these countries from the UN on or other countries, if those countries do not take these issues seriously. So yeah, there can be multiple effects for of
Exactly.
carbon. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. As you said that about the sanctions, we have this principle known as PPP, that is polluter pay principle, that is being used in the foreign countries, like in Europe, in Western countries, that the polluter is fined for the pollution they are causing. The industries, the organizations who are not, for example, not emitting carbon dioxide amount given by the government or organization or EPA, that is environmental protection agencies, they are being fined for per kilogram or per tonnage of the pollution they are producing. Okay, good job. Anyone else amongst you can discuss what is their opinion on how the carbon footprint can influence the international trade? Mr. Junaid Fida, can you give us your opinion?
Sound. Yes, like Hamza mentioned and everybody else, like there can be an influence, like that people can associate that if the products are uh, how much, what is the product cycle, and if there are any carbon footprint in the production of those products. So there could be, so this could influence, and it has certain benefits, like if you are going to reduce the carbon footprints, okay, and then we can trade with you. So this could be the factor. The other things could be like there is like one organization, International Finance Corporation. Now
Mhm.
what they are doing is that if somebody is going from traditional sources of utilization of energy from to renewable, so they are providing with the governments with the funds for 25 years, that just you can plan for some renewable energy projects. It will be funded by us, okay, and on there are some like terms and condition in that regard, that you have to set the rate for 25 years, like IPPs in Pakistan as well, and it's going elsewhere as well. So a lot of efforts are being done in this regard, and certainly it has the influence in the international trade as well. So this is what I can give my input.
Yeah, good. See, that is why I wanted to discuss that many new points we have. You guys have we have discussed. You guys have discussed new points regarding the like international finance corporation, like sanctions, like etc. It is very informative. Okay, thank you very much. Another point I would like to add the on the topic that influence of carbon footprint or international trade, that compliance with the international standards helps to reassure the consumers as well that the products are safe, efficient, good for environment. Like producers, as you can see that nowadays it has become a trend or a fashion, sort of fashion, that we are using sustainable dresses, we are using sustainable products. Even plastic bottles, they're using non-plastic bottles or biodegradable products. It has become a trend, especially in the new generation, which is good thing. So if your organization has compliance with the international standards, the consumer, it would increase profit of that organization, as the consumers would be reassured that the products are safe to use and are environmental friendly. Okay. Now, just to summarize the whole ecological footprint versus carbon footprint, this is a picture or difference that I obtained as mentioned in the source that I have mentioned uh, below the picture. Ecological footprint is what? Measurement of how human population demand on nature. Nature means each and everything: water, crops, food, air, fossil fuels, every service. Service is included in the ecological footprint. And the next, and when we compare this ecological footprinting with the carbon footprint, it is actually, carbon footprint is a measurement of total greenhouse gas emissions by people, units of carbon or carbon dioxide equivalents. Now, when we measured ecological footprint, it is actually that amount of productive land, sea, and other activity one needs to support a particular activity, lifestyle, etc. But for the carbon footprint, it only tells about the greenhouse gases that emitted by units of carbon dioxide equivalents. And when we calculate the ecological footprint, we calculate it for individual, for groups of people, like nation, like country, and for the activities, like for manufacturing a product. But for the carbon footprint, we can only measure it in units of carbon or carbon dioxide equivalent. Basically, what is ecological footprint is a whole. We can say the ecological footprint is a whole, uh, and the carbon footprint is a small part of this whole. Like your carbon footprint is your personal contribution to the climate change, like how much carbon dioxide or greenhouse gas that you are emitting, while your ecological footprint is total amount of all the eco services that you use to support your sustenance or use to support your life, or perhaps the enjoyment. So this is the basic difference between ecological footprint and carbon footprint, and our major focus was on carbon footprinting because this is what we were discussing. Ecological footprint is out. We can say that a very vast subject, and as you can see that within the ecological footprint we have various types. So all of these type of footprints have their different calculation methods. They have different ISO standardizations. They have different aspects and different uses in the organization or individual levels. Well, I have also added some references with this presentation, where I took the data from. For example, like for the bricks, for the definitions, and for the ISO standardization. So it may help you guys if you want. If you are interested, you can take a look at all these research papers and websites. Now, if you have any questions related to the today's topic, feel free to ask.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about the ISO 14001 family standard you discussed, 67 and 64 particularly. Are these standards certifiable, or are these just for the validation and verification?
These are for validation, I guess. Yeah, these are actually what can I say? The 1400, as you can see, that it's the whole 1400 family for the EMS, for environment management system, right? 1400s.
Yeah, actually
It was developed.
14,000. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So 14,001 is
Yeah,
actually certifiable. So just wanted to check
yes,
whether
yes.
these two are certifiable or not.
Uh, According to my knowledge, these are just standardization for the organization, not certifiable.
So
According to my
maybe
knowledge,
just
I
for
may be wrong, but
just as guidelines.
uh-huh. Yeah, guidelines, provide guidelines for the organizations.
Okay,
Up to
okay.
my
Thank
knowledge.
you. Sure, sure. Thank you.
Anyone else wants to say something or ask something? All right. Just to summarize the whole thing, whole lecture or the session today, I'm again saying that ecological footprint is a whole, and the carbon footprint is a small part of that whole system, right? Ecological footprint consists of each and every eco service that we get from the environment, and carbon footprint is what and how we use those services, and how we are creating greenhouse gases, how we are using the carbon provided to us by the ecosystem in the form of like food or fossil fuel, how we are using it, and how what sort of side products that we are converting this carbon service into. We have discussed that carbon footprint mainly consist of GHGs, greenhouse gases, mainly of carbon dioxide and methane, and it can be measured at individual plus organization level. It can be mitigated at individual and organizational level. We have ISO 14067 and ISO 14064, particularly for the ISO standardization for the calculation or for the uh, mitigation or for the monitoring of the carbon footprint, and monitoring of carbon footprint or any of the ecological footprint is essential for maintaining the sustainable development goals or maintaining the sustainability, because this is sustainability is the major point or major aspect that is driving us to apply all these practices into our lives, into the organizational procedures, because sustainability is actually our main goal. Thank you very much for attending this session, and it was very informative for me as well, and I hope it was informative for you as well. In case of any question or any query, or if you want to add into this lecture or information, feel free to contact, or feel free in the group chat you can ask the questions, or you can give your inputs into the group. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the session.
Thank you.